Maha-Bharata, Second Part, Chapter 25. Arjuna encounters Karna. Scene 1. Bheema fights with renewed power.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
And while Arjuna was visiting Yudhishthira, Bheemasena was locked in an ardent battle with the Kauravas. But not caring for his own safety, Bheema went into their midst, releasing blazing shafts in all directions. Satyaki, Shikandi, and Uttamauja followed Bheemasena, beating back their foes with a furious assault. Dushashana, Shakuni, and an army of mountain warriors charged Bheema. He met them head-on and struck them down on all sides. Uttamauja then joined Bheema and was attacked by Sushena, Karna's eldest son. Using all his strength, Uttamauja released an arrow which tore off Sushena's head. Seeing this, Karna was overwhelmed with grief, and he stood stunned for a few moments. Then Karna looked for vengeance. He turned his attention to Uttamauja and quickly slew his horses and chariot driver. And with a volley of shafts, Karna shattered Uttamauja's chariot and cut his flag standard to pieces. Now, countering Karna's arrows with shafts of his own, Uttamauja leaped from his broken chariot and ran over to the chariot of Shikandi. Both men then contended with Kripa Acharya and Kritavarma. Rushing ahead of them, Bheemasena fell upon the Kaurava troops, spitting out venom. Why, they could hardly look at Bheema as he flew about, just like the mighty Rudradev, dealing destruction at the end of the creation. A cry of woe rose up from the Kauravas. Torn asunder by the noble-minded Bheemasena, the Kauravas rushed about helter-skelter. Mangled by his arrows and crushed by his mace, the Kauravas screamed and ran to Karna for protection. After dispersing his enemies like a hurricane scattering clouds, Bheema spoke to his chariot driver. "O Vishoka, I am afraid for Yudhishthira's life. Arjuna went to see him, but he has not returned, even though Karna is still releasing fearsome celestial weapons. We are surrounded by numerous Kaurava warriors who are ready to tear out our lives at the next opportunity. All of this weighs heavily on my mind. When will Arjuna return?" But Bheema had no time to find out. Dushashana and his brothers were coming at him again, backed by thousands of chariot fighters. "O Vishoka, today I have hurled a huge number of arrows and other weapons at my foes. Tell me, how much stock still remains? Should I attack my foes with arrows and darts, or simply grind them to a pulp with my mace?" "O hero, my lord, you have 60,000 arrows left, as well as 20,000 of both razor-headed and broad-pointed shafts. Therefore, attack your enemies without any restraint." Bheema took up his bow and sent 100 steel shafts at Dushashana and Shakuni, who charged towards Bheema side by side, closely followed by the remaining sons of Dhritarashtra. And as Bheema contended with these warriors, Vishoka said, "O hero, do you hear that sound? I think it is the Devadatta filling the four quarters with mighty blasts. Look south. The Kaurava forces are fleeing like animals who have seen a lion. And there in the distance is the Hanuman banner of Arjuna. Oh, surely the gods have today favored us, for Dhananjay has come again to the battle. Bheema paused and gazed south. Sure enough, there was Arjuna's celestial banner. Relieved, Bhimasena said, "For this most welcome news, O chariot driver, I grant you 12 villages, 20 of the finest chariots, and 100 servants. Surely Yudhishthir is well, because Arjuna blows his victorious conchel, the Devadatta, again and again. This marks the end of the career of that Karna." And so, with joy, Bheema resumed his fight with renewed power, spreading total confusion among the Kauravas.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Scene 2. Krishna reassures Arjuna. After leaving the camp, Arjuna's chariot sped towards the fight, and as it neared the battlefield, Vijay wondered how he might kill Karna. For it was already mid-afternoon. Karna would not be slain without a fight. Shvetavahana knew he would have to encounter Karna soon. Falguna could not afford to be distracted by other Kaurava heroes. But Duryodhana would surely try to place obstacles in his way. Kiriti could hear the cries of the warriors and the clashing of weapons ahead. No doubt, Karna was ranging among the Pandava troops, just like Mahadev among the Asura demons. Seeing his friend's pensive mood, Krishna spoke. "O Partha, there is no man equal to you in prowess and vigor. I have seen many a hero, valiant like Indradev, sent off to the highest regions after meeting you in battle. There is not a single warrior anywhere who can survive after an encounter with you in a fight. The son of Radha is not to be taken lightly, but I cannot see Karna emerging victorious from the impending contest. O hero, cut short that arrogant fool's days. Karna only disdains you Pandavas. Slay him and strike at the root of all evils. Frustrate the desires of Dhritarashtra's sons and end this war. How can Karna live after meeting you with the Gandiva in your hand?" As he drove the chariot towards the thick of the battle, Krishna continued reassuring Arjuna. Keshava reminded Bibhatsu about the many all but invincible warriors who had already been defeated. Bhishma, Drona, Bhagadatta, and others. Hearing Krishna's assurances, Arjuna shook off his apprehension. Sabyasachi took out his conchal and blew a blast, filling the four quarters. Jishnu then drew his Gandiva bow to its full extent and twanged its string, sending forth a thunderous crash. Looking around the battlefield at the startled soldiers, Arjuna said, "O Govinda, my greatest assurance is that I have you as my guide. With your assistance, all things are possible. With you at my elbow, I can defy the three worlds, marshaled in a mighty array, and launch them into eternity and beyond. So what to speak of this Karna? Doubtlessly, I will lead him to life's final goal. Duryodhana has accepted him as his protector, but I will shatter that hope, and Karna will then recall his many wicked deeds towards us Pandavas, especially his abuse of Draupadi. Karna is about to reap the results of that unforgivable sin. Thinking back to the dice game and to the killing of Abhimanyu, Arjuna now felt his anger rising like a fire fed with oil. Just ahead of him, Arjuna saw Bheema completely encircled by Kaurava warriors. Bheema was waging a fearful battle, sending out fiery shafts which tore into his foes. Arjuna rode straight into the battle and beat back the Kauravas with waves of arrows. And not far off, Vijay could see Karna's tall flag standard, and so he made his way towards Karna. At once Arjuna was met by Kripa Acharya, Kritavarma, and a number of Duryodhana's brothers. Repelling their attacks, Bhibatsu moved steadily towards Karna. Arjuna's long shafts flew from his Gandiva like lightning bolts, sending his aggressors reeling. However, arrows shot at Arjuna bounced off him uselessly from his impenetrable armor, or else they were struck down mid-flight by Sabyasachi's own shafts. Now, pursing his lips and narrowing his eyes at Karna in the distance, Falguna relentlessly drove into the Kaurava forces. Arjuna struck down numerous elephants Duryodhana had directed against him. Rows of chariot drivers rushed at Arjuna, only to be felled by thousands of arrows shot in straight lines. Sabyasachi crushed his foes like a maddened elephant trampling a lake full of lotus flowers. And after destroying 4 divisions of troops, each containing 10,000 brave warriors, Arjuna looked across at Karna and spoke out, "O Keshava, not far off I can see Karna. Duryodhana himself is protecting Karna, along with a number of other Maha-Bharatas. Drive my chariot straight at them, O Krishna. I am not going to return today without slaying the Suta's son. Go quickly before he destroys our entire host." Krishna urged on the horses, and the great chariot thundered towards Karna. Seeing them approach, Shalya said, "Aha! Here at last comes Pandu's mighty son, shooting snake-like arrows from his Gandiva bow with the force of a thunderbolt. It appears Bhibatsu is making straight for you, O hero. Now, save our troops by killing Kiriti, if it lies within your power. You have badly hurt the virtuous King Yudhishthir, and you have afflicted all of the other Pandavas. Arjuna will be swelling with wrath and vengeance. Karna, you are the only archer in this world who can face Kiriti. It appears that a furious cobra is advancing towards you, with its tongue quivering. Now, all of the Kauravas are looking at you for protection. O Karna, rescue them from this ocean known as Arjuna, in which they are fastly sinking." Shalya knew the time for the final battle between the two heroes had now arrived. This was not the time to discourage Karna. Shalya gazed at the dark-complexioned Krishna as he skillfully drove Arjuna's chariot through the Kauravas. Govinda resembled a blackish cloud moving through the star-studded firmament, and behind Krishna, Sabyasachi looked like a second black cloud, sending out streaks of brilliant lightning as he fired his arrows. Karna now became enlivened and enthusiastic as he spoke to his chariot driver. "Oh, Shalya, oh strong-armed one, it seems now you have shaken off your fear of Arjuna. You are speaking words that are agreeable to me. Yes, today you will witness what I have learned from my martial teachers. Soon I will slay these two warriors, Krishna and Arjuna, along with the entire Pandava force. But even if I fail, and victory in battle is never certain, my fame will be preserved by my achieving a hero's death." Karna roared and then went over to Duryodhana, and after saluting him, Karna said, "O king, I will now encounter Dhananjay. Close him in from all sides so that Vijay cannot escape. Have the best of our fighters assail Arjuna with numerous weapons. A great task is now upon me, and I will need whatever help you can muster." Duryodhana quickly detailed Kripa Acharya, Ashvathama, Dushashana, and his remaining brothers to support Karna. They rushed in one body at Arjuna, followed by thousands of elephants, chariots, and horsemen.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Scene 3. Bheema drinks the blood of Dushashana. Arjuna met his assailants with volleys of whistling arrows. Bheemasena, blowing his kanchal and slapping his arms in joy, came to Arjuna's side and targeted Duryodhana's brothers with his deadly shafts. Little more than 20 princes remained, and they angrily attacked Bheemasena with all their strength, desiring to avenge the killing of their brothers. Now, worked up to a fury, Dushashana exhibited great prowess in the fight. He struck Bheemasena with 12 arrows with such force that he was stunned, momentarily losing grip on his bow. Now, taking advantage of this lapse, Dushashana sent Bheema a shaft brilliant as the sun, decorated with diamonds and other shining gems, and as powerful as thunder. The arrow hit Bheema on his chest, making him lose his senses. Bheema dropped to his knees, holding on to the pole of his flag standard for support. Dushashana roared and blew his kanchal. His brothers all cheered and rained down shafts on the stricken Bheema. They all considered their mortal enemy slain. However, within moments, Bheema was once again on his feet. He threw a dart at Dushashana, but the Kaurava cut it into pieces mid-flight. Dushashana then struck Bheema with another barbed arrow, which cut Bheema deeply. Now consumed with wrath, Bheema thundered, "You wretch! Strike me while you can! You have only wounded me in this fight, but you will soon lay down your life, and I will drink your life's blood. Feel now the force of my mace!" Bheema's chariot hurtled towards Dushashan. He whirled his huge iron mace over his head and roared furiously. Dushashan then threw a blazing dart at Bheema, but he smashed it with his mace. Within moments, Bheema was directly upon Dushashan face to face and struck him a dreadful blow on his forehead. The prince was thrown 20 paces from his chariot. He thudded to the ground, his ornaments strewn, and Dushashan lay stunned for some moments. Now blood was flowing from his head, and his body was shaking. Now, remembering his promise in the dice game, Bheema leaped down from his chariot and approached his fallen foe. And as Dushashan struggled to get to his feet, Bheema struck him down once again and sent him flying. Dushashan dropped to the earth, gasping for breath. Bheema stood over him and unsheathed his sword. Looking down at the semi-conscious prince, Bheema remembered all the evils Dushashan had committed. In particular, Dushashan's unforgivable treatment of Draupadi and Dushashan's verbal abuse of the Pandavas as they were leaving for the forest. Bheema seized his terrified foe by the arm and dragged him across the battlefield. Dushashan tried to scramble himself free, kicking out frantically, but Bheema twisted his arm until he screamed. Bheema then brought down his sword in a flashing arc and cut off Dushashan's arm. Bheema's voice boomed out across the battlefield. "Aha! Here is the arm that seized Draupadi's sanctified hair. Watch me now as I drink the blood of Dushashan." Writhing in agony as blood pumped out from his shoulder, Bheema kicked Dushashan onto his back and dropped onto him with his knees. Bheema's roars reverberated for miles around, petrifying the warriors on both sides. Bheema grasped the ivory hilt of his sword with both hands. Dushashan's blood-smeared features contorted in terror. Bheema smiled, relishing this long-awaited moment of revenge. Then suddenly, Bheema plunged his sword into the chest of Dushashan. And as Dushashan died screaming, Bheema ripped open Dushashan and tore out his heart. Bheema then leaned down and with cupped hands drank the foaming blood as it flowed from the chest of Dushashan. Standing up once again, Bheema shouted, "The taste of this blood is sweeter than the milk from my mother's breast. It is sweeter than honey. It is sweeter than pure water." And with his face smeared with blood, Bheema looked down at Dushashan and said, "You are now safe since you are dead, and there is nothing more I can do to you." All of the Kauravas who witnessed Bheema drinking the blood of Dushashan became horrified. Many of them fell down to the ground out of fear. Others ran away crying, "Oh, he is not human! Save us from this Bheema!" "Ha ha ha ha! Oh, Dushashan, you were the root of the evils we suffered. Now, Let us hear you once again joyfully defy us with those words. O cow, you are a cow. Turning now towards Arjuna and Krishna, Bheema said, O heroes, I have redeemed my pledge to kill Dushashana and drink his blood. Now Draupadi is avenged. Soon I will fulfill my other vow. I will crush that evil-minded Duryodhana, for only then will I know peace. 10 of Dushashana's surviving brothers were all shocked, and so they rushed at Bheema, hoping to kill him. Bhimasena quickly remounted his chariot and faced them with a smile. The Kauravas hemmed Bheema in, firing hundreds of barbed shafts at him. In swift succession, Bheema sent a gold-winged and razor-headed shaft at each prince, severing his head. Namaste Narasimhaya. Namaste Narasimhaya. Prahlada Klada Dayani. Hiranya Kashi Vaksha. La Tankana Kalai Iton Singha Paraton Singho Yato Yato Yamitato Nursingha Bahi Nursingha Hridai Nursingho Nrsimhamadin Sharanam Prapadi. Javakara Kamala Hare Nakam Adhuta Sringam Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanu Bringam Keshavadvita Narahadi Rupa Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Keshavadvita Narahadi Rupa Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadish Jaya Jagadish Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha